website cloned, modified, and stored in our web server, we're ready to go to the next step, which is creating our fake access point. Now, I've covered creating fake access points before. I covered how to do that manually using Airbase ng, and I covered how to do that using a script that's called Mana Toolkit. Both of these methods are good, but what I want to show you today is a generic method. That's first of all, it's a manual method. That's first of all faster than Airbase ng, and it's also what Mana Toolkit uses to generate its fake access point. So Mana, Fluxion, Wi-Fi Fisher, and all these scripts rely on the method that I'm going to show you today to create their fake access points. The reason why I'm kind of going low level on this is because, first of all, I want you to understand how a wireless access point works and how to manually generate one, so that in the future, if any of these tools broke and just didn't work, or if you had a certain scenario, or if you were just in a certain position where you had to kind of customize your attack, then you'll know how to do that yourself without being limited to these tools. So before we do anything, I just want to give you an overview, a simplified version of the components used in an access point. So first of all, you need a wireless device that will broadcast a signal that's going to broadcast a Wi-Fi signal. Now we have a wireless interface that's going to do that for us, and we're going to use a program called HostAPD. Now, like I said, this is the program that's used by Mana Toolkit, so literally Mana Toolkit runs this program in the background to broadcast the access point that it generates. Fluxion and all these other tools also use HostAPD to create their access point. So we're basically removing a layer, and we're literally going down a layer and we're going to be doing this manually ourselves through the command prompt. Then you'll also need a server that will give IP addresses to the clients that connect to our fake access point. Now you can use a normal DHCP server, or you can use DNSMask. I like to use DNSMask because it's a 2-in-1 server, because we can actually also use it as a DNS server to handle DNS requests. And in our particular example, it's going to be very useful because we're going to use it to redirect any requests that go to any website and redirect them to our login page, because we want this to work as a captive portal so that if people try to go to any website, they'll end up in our login page instead of actually giving them the website that they want. So we have three main components. We have a HostAPD that's going to generate our wireless network. We have a DHCP server that's going to give IPs to the people that connect to this network. And we have a DNS server that's going to resolve DNS requests. And in our example, we're going to make it redirect any request to the IP where our fake login page is installed, and that's usually our own IP. Now, let me do this manually, and it'll become more clear to you. So I have my Kali machine here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is install DNSMask and HostAPD. So I'm going to go on my terminal, and I'm just going to do apt-get HostAPD DNSMask. So we've used this command so many times by now. All we have to do is just do apt-get, install the programs that we want to install, and we're installing HostAPD, which is the program that's going to generate the wireless network, and DNSMask, which is our DNS server and DHCP server. I'm going to hit enter, and for me, they're both already installed, so it's not going to install anything for me. But for you, it's going to ask you, do you actually want to install it? You're going to have to type Y, hit enter, and it'll install it for you. Once done with that, I'm going to connect my wireless adapter through my USB port. I'm going to go to Devices, USB, and make sure that the adapter is selected. And as you can see, mine is already selected. So if I do ifconfig, it should be there now. As you can see, I have LAN 0 already there, so we're good to go. Now the first step is going to be disabling Network Manager. The reason why I do this because it usually manages this interface and it'll prevent it from working properly, and it'll prevent it from being used to broadcast a Wi-Fi signal. So we're going to do Service, Network Manager, Stop. And that's done. And notice the network icon disappears from here from the top. Now the next step is actually not a mandatory step, it's an optional one. But I like to do it every time I run something like this or try to become the man in the middle. The reason why, because I'm going to run a number of commands that's going to enable IP forwarding so that the packets can flow through my computer without being dropped, and it'll also delete any IP tables rules that might interfere with what I'm trying to do. So it's going to flush IP tables, remove any redirections, any chains that might interfere with packets, that might be redirecting packets to places that they shouldn't go. So it's literally clearing any firewall rules that might be redirecting packets to somewhere else. Now, by default, you shouldn't need to do this because there shouldn't be any rules at all. But you never know when programs modify and add IP table rules in the background. So to be safe, we're going to do that. And I usually store this in a file in a bash script, so I can just run it from terminal, just do bash and type in the name of the script. But for now, I'm actually, just for the sake of completion, I'm going to open it with a text editor. And I'm just going to copy all the commands here. So you can see the first command just enables IP forwarding. The second command, it will just flush IP tables. Will flush the NAT table, will delete chains, and will enable forwarding in IP tables. So again, this is optional. It's not mandatory, but it's better to do it to make sure that your IP tables is clear. There's nothing that's going to interfere with our attack, and that it's going to work. And so that if it fails, we'll know it's nothing to do with IP tables. So I'm just going to paste everything here. You can actually paste multi-lines. And as you can see, all of them get executed without showing any errors, which means that all of them got executed successfully. Now, so far, we actually haven't done anything to generate our fake access point. We said we have three main components. First, start a fake access point using host APD. Second, start a DHCP server. And third, start a DNS server. We haven't done any of that. We just stopped our Redis adapter, and then we deleted any rules that might interfere with our attack. Now in the next lecture, I'll show you how to properly configure all of these services, start them. So we have a fully functioning fake access point that people can connect to and use just like a normal access point.
Our next video is starting the fake captive portal. Thank you.